How's it going, Yankee fans? Welcome back to Fireside Yankees with your boys, Alex and Ryan. So today we want to discuss this Yankee rotation. I mean, going into the season, you guys probably recall, we talked about Carlos Rodon, Nestor Cortez bouncing back from injury, rebounding rather. We didn't really know what they were going to look like. Garrett Cole goes down. We're kind of in full flux, disarray. At that point, we're like, oh my God, if we lose Cole for a prolonged amount of time, we're actually screwed. And the exact opposite has happened from what we thought would happen. Not only that, but the exact opposite has happened from what 2023 showed us in terms of inconsistencies, injuries, lackluster performances. This Yankee team has been different. The rotation, we have one player, one starter that has an ERA above 3, and that's Nestor Cortez at 3.30. And by the way, he'd be the ace on the Mets right now. He'd be the ace on a bunch of teams, and he's our worst starter at this point. We're talking about him moving to the bullpen when Cole comes back. That's how freaking good he's been in terms of we're having a hard time figuring out what to do here. But I want to talk about this rotation, some of the steps these guys have taken forward, notably the youngsters, Luis Gil, Clark Schmidt. Gil's in the middle of not only an all-star campaign, but if he maintains his pace, we're talking about a Cy Young contender. We're talking about a player that is coming back up from Tommy John surgery and putting together one of the best seasons we've seen. At this point in time, he looks better than what Garrett Cole looked like last year, midway through the season. That's hard to say. That's hard to beat, man. I mean, he has a sub-1 ERA over his last 6 starts, 32.1 innings. He has 3 earned runs allowed. This dude is absolutely on fire. His confidence bleeding through the seams, man. I mean, Ryan, looking at Luis Gil, what he did yesterday, 8 innings, 2 hits, 1 homer, 1 earned run. I mean, you can't ask for much more. Yankees win 2-1. They win that game because of Luis Gil. Not because of their offense, but because Luis Gil put together a freaking gem. What are your thoughts on him? What has he done to show you that he can be a key asset in this rotation long term? And we have control over him until 2029.
Yeah, man. I mean, when we were talking about the rotation, right, and the conversation of, okay, who gets pulled when Garrett Cole comes back, the universally understood answer was Luis Gil, right? Even when he had a couple of good starts or open the year, it's now imagine how good he's going to be in the bullpen. Now it's, as you mentioned, I mean, I'm sorry, you can't pull him from the rotation, right? You just can't. You can't. At this point in time, he is their best starter right now. In terms of stuff plus, he's at 115. I think that's the best mark on the team. 102 pitching plus, that's pretty good. I think that's tied with Schmidt for the best mark on the team. 1.99 ERA, that is the best mark on the team. 31.7% strikeout rate, best mark on the team. He is just been, he's the king of the heel, right? I mean, he's that freaking good, man. A 29% hard hit rate, a 19.3% strikeout to walk rate. The walks have come down. I think that's the most impressive thing for me. He's not walking the ballpark. Over his last 4 starts, 7.3% walk rate. Over his last 7 starts, an 8.5% walk rate. These are more than manageable numbers. He has a 21.8% strikeout to walk rate over this time span. Over his last 7 starts with a 1.65 ERA. If you want to look at just the month of May, and Alex, these numbers in the month of May are just ridiculous, right? A 0.70 ERA, a 31.2% strikeout rate, a 0.67 whip, a 109 average. What, dude? He made 6 starts this year. I know wins and losses aren't really a big thing, and I get that, but he had 6 wins to 0 losses. He pitched in 6 games. He picked up 6 dubs, didn't lose a start. He pitched 6 innings or more in every single one of those starts, and I apologize for calling him. Sorry, I'm just Alex, holy crap, right? This guy's so good. I don't even, it doesn't feel Fugazi. The guy's got elite stuff. Alex, could you reasonably have expected this? I don't know if anyone could have expected this, man. This dude's balling.
I think we can kind of move beyond balling and go right towards immaculate. This guy has been beyond our wildest dreams in terms of what we thought he would be. We were he's a number 5. He's got great stuff, but he's erratic. He's volatile. You said it a couple weeks ago. Get the ball across the freaking strike zone. Get the ball across the plate. They can't hit your fastball, man. It's been excellent. And then, you pivot over to one of our other young players in Clark Schmidt, who's 28 years old, and Schmidt's having a tremendous second season, 2.52 ERA over 60.2 innings. As a career high, 9.94 strikeouts per nine with an 84.1% left on base rate. We have him under contract until 2028, man. We have 2 young, high-profile arms here under contract until at least 2028. Talking about really, really small amounts of money being paid out here. $750K to Luis Gil. Keep in mind, I think we're still paying Josh Donaldson $6 million on a vesting option. Josh Donaldson's making over 8 times as much as Luis Gil, and he's not even on the freaking team. You know what I mean? Luis Gil's putting together a Cy Young caliber season. that is where you get the value. Those are the type of things that have to happen to open up money to sign guys like Juan Soto, right? Excuse me. If you sit here and Luis Gil stinks and the rotation's falling apart and the Yankees need help and the Yankees need this and the Yankees need that, Juan Soto says, yeah, I don't really want to stay here, man. I don't really want to play here. Why? Well, this team's not very good. We don't have the pitching. The Yankees need to invest more in the pitching department and in the infield, wherever it might be. The Mets, yeah, good luck signing Juan Soto with the way your team looks right now, buddy. Okay. The Mets are going to throw enough money at Juan Soto to convince him to go play for a losing team. Look, the guy can sign $500 million, $600 million. If he wants to go lose, he's out as generational wealth no matter what. No matter if he takes that or this, I think the Yankees match whatever offer the Mets are willing to give him anyway. Gleyber Torres is gone. Anthony Rizzo is gone. You have young players coming up. You have Vivas, you have Caleb Durbin, you have Ben Rice, you got Heel, you have young players stepping into key roles. You have Jason Dominguez, Spencer Jones. Guys, this team is going to have more than enough money to sign Juan Soto long term. He's happy. All the insiders are saying he's happy. The Yankees are winning. He's mashing. He's having fun. He has Dominican culture in New York City. He's got a big fan base that's following around. The fans freaking love him. If you think Juan Soto's leaving this team for the Mets, you might. I want what you're smoking, buddy. That's some crazy Philadelphia crack there. I don't. That's all I got to say about that. But I'll let you get your take on it. I imagine you're in the same boat as I am. The Mets, come on, let's be serious.
Yeah, right now, I mean, the Yankees organization, like, what they've done in terms of developing talent internally is, like, severely ramped up in the last, I'd say in the last 2 years, right? You have, obviously, Volpe's becoming this great player. I mean, do I look at Anthony Volpe in the same vein as, like an Aaron Judge? No, right? I think the talent levels are dramatically different. But Volpe's, like, a premier defensive shortstop with an above-average bat. Like, that's always going to be a good baseball player. Like, if you want to say he's not going to have the numbers he has this year throughout his entire career, which I think is fair to say, that's fine. Like, if he has like a 110 WRC plus and he plays his defense, like that's a great player. Judge obviously is a homegrown superstar, but he's been around for years. But as you mentioned with Heel and Schmidt, right? Like having two guys who, in Heel's case, looks like a frontline starter. Schmidt's numbers are of a frontline starter, although I would argue Schmidt's more of a middle of the rotation, like a high-end 3 to like a 2, that kind of range. I think Schmidt can kind of profile in the high-end 3 range. If having those two starters can become pillars in your rotation. And quietly, like, the Yankees did draft Nestor Cortez. Like, as much as people can say, well, he got Rule 5'd by the Orioles and debuted with them, he was drafted and developed, and then he broke out with the Yankees, right? Like, I think you can call that a draft success, a player development success. And just moving away from the draft, right? Like, players the Yankees acquired through the draft, they're acquired at the minor league level. Like, the Yankees turned Luke Weaver, for example, from a journeyman who got $2 million in free agency to one of the better relievers in baseball. Clay Holmes, who is one of the top 10 best relievers in baseball over the last 3 or 4 years, they traded for him. They traded two not really well-known prospects. How did the Yankees get Juan Soto? By trading from their very good farm system. How did the Yankees build this team? A lot of it has to do with their farm system and their player development, right? Like, that is something that a lot of people have overlooked with the Yankees and have not given them enough credit for. Verdugo, like, he has made tangible changes to his game. That's a win on the Yankee side. Gleyber Torres, I know this year he has not been good, but overall in his Yankee career he's been a good player. That's the Yankees making a good trade. Jose Trevino, right? Like, Jose Trevino, we talk about how good he's been. That's a player development success. The Yankees turned Jose Trevino into the player he is. His catching defense has gotten significantly better with the Yankees, right? So, if we look at these players where they've gotten them for basically nothing or picked them up in the draft or traded for them as minor leaguers, they've balled out, man. They really have. They've shown up and shown out. I know Hamilton this year has not been great, but like the track record is pretty good with the Yankees. When Dominguez comes back, can he be a guy for you? If he is, that's another name you can add to that list. Even guys that could be on the horizon, whether that's Clayton Beeter. I thought Yoendrys Gomez was very impressive in his outing this year. I actually think he can be a long-term relief piece for this team. Is a guy like Jordan Vivas going to enter the fold? Could Caleb Durbin enter the fold? Like, now you're starting to see this team be able to build internally. And Alex, we've been just slamming the desk asking for this for so long, and now we're starting to see kind of the fruits of their labor.
We absolutely are seeing the fruits of their labor, and ultimately, you look at this Yankee team, they're outperforming, anybody. They have the best ERA in baseball by, I think, a pretty sizable margin. I think they have a 2.76 ERA, and the Phillies, I believe, are the second place team, like 3.02 or something like that. it's 308 rather, 276 to 308. That is a massive margin. Like, think about how big of a margin that really is, where the second place team is a 308 ERA and the Yankees are at 276. Luis Gil helping that significantly. So, not even to mention Carlos Rodon, who's been pretty solid. I think he's a 295, if I'm not mistaken. That's really solid. And then Nestor Cortez at 330, as I mentioned earlier. And then you have Marcus Stroman, who's at a 276. What more do you need to see from this group of rotation of these arms? What more do you need to see to consider them like something that's just unheralded? We haven't seen this level of competency from this Yankee team in this regard. Everything is going right now. Knock on wood. We need them to do it for the full season, including the playoffs. But getting Garrett Cole back, we've had this conversation multiple times already. I'm not going to kind of replay it for you, but it's a great problem to have. If you move Nestor Cortez to the bullpen, it's okay. Why? Because injuries happen, things happen. Guys need rest, guys hit fatigue. Having an arm like that waiting in the wings to help supplement that and help offset those kind of problems is a great situation to be in. The Yankees last year didn't have enough talent in the starting rotation. Now they have too much. They have to figure out who to push out, and they're gonna have to push out a guy that will be an ace on several other teams, which is a really good problem to have. In your perspective, Ryan, how important is it that this Yankee team has this much talent, has this much quality available to them, so that way, if worst comes to worst, they have those supplementary pieces to step in and say, well, we can survive this.
Yeah, and I kind of want to harken back to what Hal Steinbrenner said about like the payroll situation. Look, I think a billionaire can pay, like we've talked about money, right? Where like billionaires can pay whatever they want to pay, right? Like they can pay $300 million in the payroll. They just can. Like they can. I don't care what any owner says, they can. But they can't profit off of it, right? Which is the big thing here. Can do and can profit off of are two separate things. Hal Steinbrenner doesn't think the Yankees can stay at a $300 million payroll because MLB has systems in place so that you stop profiting at some point. You pay so much, you just can't possibly make that money back. And, having the ability to keep a guy like Juan Soto and keep a guy with the payroll they have and have Aaron Judge and Cole in that core is your ability to develop talent internally. Like, I know this is going to be a kind of a tough thing to say now, but like Glaber is going to be on the team. Rizzo is going to be on the team. I don't know if Holmes is even going to be on the team next year. Verdugo will definitely not be on the team next year, right? And that, like, Holmes and Verdugo are two really good baseball players. They're not going to be on the team next year. They're not. The Yankees are not going to pay them most likely. Holmes, maybe, like that's the guy you think may have a chance, but like even then, really, would they? They're going to slash payroll in those areas, and you have to be able to develop talent internally to replenish there so you can remain a World Series caliber team. I think the Yankees are capable of doing it. I think the Yankees have the personnel in terms of player development. Like the job that Matt Blake has done is unbelievable. It's remarkable. The Yankees have not gotten a single pitch thrown from Garrett Cole. They are first in stuff plus at 108. The Yankees throw nastier pitches than anybody else in Major League Baseball. They throw nastier pitches than anybody else, Alex, and they don't have Garrett Cole. This is another crazy stat. Guess what team has the best four-seam fastball stuff plus in baseball? The Yankees. Guess what Garrett Cole's best pitch? A four-seam fastball. He has not thrown a single pitch for this team. He has not. He hasn't pitched for the team. This team has been that good without their guy. And I feel like the command for a lot of the guys in rotation has gotten better. Their command kind of earlier in the year didn't feel great. I feel like it's only gotten better as the season has gone on. I think, a guy like Luis Gil is a reflection of that. For example, like in March and April, the Yankees had a 98 location plus. That was the third worst mark for any starting staff. In the month of May, they've improved on that. It's not great. It's 100. It's still league average, but considering them a 110 stuff plus in the month, it's given them a much better pitching. Like I feel like this team is pitching a lot better, and the numbers back up, I think, the visuals here. As they continue to command the ball better, as they continue to play better baseball and kind of get themselves in a rhythm, I think this team's only going to reach new heights. And I don't, there's not enough superlatives right now. Like there just isn't enough good I could say about this team that I think can represent the play on the field. The Orioles are right on our tail, which is kind of like, it makes kind of like they're having a really good year, we're having a really good year. But I feel like for the Yankees, it just comes down to having a productive deadline and getting into the postseason, being healthy. Like that's really where my head's at right now. I know we're going to make the playoffs.
Yeah, no, I would agree with you, and then you have to also like kind of factor in getting Efros and Lou Trevino back at some point as well. So like two key bullpen arms you're gonna get back, and then we'll see what happens in terms of John Birdie helping in the infield. there's a lot of good situations. That, not to mention Jason Dominguez. The guy is on fire right now. We should do a whole episode just on Jason Dominguez and what he's been doing since his rehab assignment started. I think he's a couple home runs already. So, this Yankee team is juiced up, man. They got a lot of talent, a lot of really good situations. The problems now are having too much talent, not too little. Too much health, not enough, not many injuries. Again, knock on wood. But this is a really good trend. Obviously, we've seen this happen before. First half of the year, we need it to happen during the second half of the year. That's the most important thing. So keep playing well, keep staying healthy, get some of these other guys that are kind of going through cold stretches right. Guys like Rizzo and Gleyber Torres are definitely imperative in terms of being assets in this equation. But then you have Austin Wells, whose expected stuff is exponentially better than his actual stuff. He's getting very unlucky. So hopefully he starts to, that luck starts to turn around for him. We'll see the numbers improve. But again, lots to talk about, a lot of good stuff. But guys, always happy to hear your thoughts down below in the YouTube comment section about this starting rotation, your thoughts early on in this season. Make sure to like and subscribe as always, and we'll catch you guys on the next Fireside Yankees episode.
Perfect.